shit.
Damn. Damn.
God.
Damn.
That will be a finisher in sparking.
He punched the fuck out that nigga, bro.
They scrapping.
Oh, this is so gas.
They scrapping.
Damn.
Okay, no,
Oh, this is like this is like
they are
Broly levels right here.
They are flexing.
Right.
Yeah. I actually really like it with the Super Saiyan aura though.
Yeah, it's just fire. Also, it sounded like they had the fucking Kyle Ken sound effects in there.
Yeah. They're using a lot of Dragon Ball Z sound effects right now.
This is just like
This is just
crazy. They're just
right
flexing
now.
so hard with the animation, bro.
I feel like this episode will have no dialogue. Like
This is ridiculous. Holy shit.
Just the, oh my god.
it's just straight hands.
No music.
No music, no subtitles,
music,
just straight boxing. Oh?
Ooh, flex on them.
Hey, yo.
Where my hug at?
Give me a hug.
Yo, he squeezed the
God damn.
damn.
Rest in peace, that is spine.
Oh, we're definitely
Bro,
they're definitely doing Dragon Fist or some shit, bro.
that flip was so cold. Yo, that was just 3 minutes straight of just nonstop action, just Sakura, just, and we just right back
And
into
we're
it.
right back into it, bro.
This is the type of shit
Jesus.
Dragon Ball
Nah,
has
they
always
came to beat the
deserved,
streets
bro.
with This one.
This is
God damn.
that's
What
a
the-
gorilla grip. It's a double entendre. Nigga, what dimension are they in? What
Wait,
the
this
fuck?
is Piccolo's technique. Never mind.
He might have added a little something on the end with that one. Bro, is this the most insane fight in Dragon Ball history?
How durable is this fucking rock they're on?
Nah, facts. That shit should be space dust at this point.
Just on a choreo standpoint, like they just straight up like scrap. Like this is just AMV niggas is gonna eat off of this, bro. I'm telling you.
Bro, every fucking frame of this episode is a thumbnail. Like,
God damn. I ain't gonna hold you. Go. He might punch his eye out by himself.
that's the first word we've heard this whole episode, by the way. We're 5 minutes in. It took 5 minutes to hear a single word get spoke. No way.
Oh, is it? Oh, is it time?
Nigga!
Nah, they are in.
Bro! He about to do the greatest Kamehameha of all fucking time, bro. Nigga.
What a dragon.
This is so above and beyond anything I could have possibly expected.
What the fuck?
This nigga's so
Great
raw!
aura. Oh my god.
You want to talk about aura, nigga?
Literally has aura, bro.
Got a colorful.
Oh,
he
my
better do
God.
another crazy comment.
Oh my God.
Ah!
Yeah, it's running
Gotta
time,
fuck this
baby.
nigga up.
I hope he breaks his ankles.
Holy
How's he gonna break
fuck.
his ankles doing this?
Instant transmission midway.
Midway, mid battle or mid beam Kamehameha instant transmission. Oh, his
Bro.
hair looks
Bro,
crazy.
his hair is
Raw.
nuts.
Holy shit.
Holy fucking shit, bro. Dog.
Damn! He can't Piccolo with this man. Wait, is he about? If he does, I swear, if he does Dragon Fist or some shit, I'm gonna throw up, bro. Jesus.
What are you going to every single world in the demon world? He blowing him right there in the real world.
Nigga.
Every single world.
Every world.
What the actual fuck?
I ain't seen a nigga get punched through dimensions.
Yo, what the fuck?
Damn, the residue on the. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yo, what the hell was that first half, brother?
Jesus.
I have no words, bro.
Tap him in the head.
Gonna stop. Yep. Piccolo took too damn long. Why are you talking in the middle of it, bro?
Bro, you just needed 2 hits, Piccolo. Come on.
And this is the last one. Like, if you don't shut up, bro. Oh, Moon, we can hear your thing.
You mean?
Yeah, we can hear the audio from your side.
Oh, say less. Should be gone now.
Hey.
Well,
Oh,
now
Thoughts
what?
Here? So here we go. Fusion Bug, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, they're golden Super Saiyan looking ass grade 8.
Took I was just saying to create Super Saiyan 7 Golden Grade 8 Gogeta.
It's gonna happen. The fusion bugs are gonna show up right now. Hit him.
Shit.
No way. No way.
That's why he's
No
the
way
goat.
Ku gets the.
The goat. That's why he's the goat.
No way Ku gets the.
Who's the goat?
Nani?
Nani? That's why he's the goat.
Unfucking bullet. Why am I not surprised?
Thanking the Lord that it wasn't Hybis, bro, because I would have pissed me off way more. I really didn't want it to be Hybis doing that shit.
Yo, where's the Hybis hate come from?
Don't tell me you okay. Ew. Oh.
I mean, it was just an eyeball, to be fair.
This is so Toriyama.
Woo! Fucking
So no fusion after all.
Right?
What the hell?
It was just a
Surprising.
bait and switch all along, just to give us Super Saiyan 4.
Literally baited the fuck.
Hey, I'm taking Super Saiyan 4 over any fusion they could give me any day, though.
True.
Watch Cool fuck around and become Demon King. I'm sick.
Really though. Oh, that's his plan all along. Damn, his hands are big as fuck.
Yes,
Big
sir.
meaty claws.
He knuckle dragging that whole match. Shit.
It's a big ass hands.
Knuckle check.
I knew it. I knew it's gonna.
The goats.
Oh, there's Degasu.
I guess
What-
it could have been such a better.
Degasu was a waste of a character, yeah.
Yeah. Full design just to be mediocre.
Hey, man. Every nigga I know would have been sealed away or locked away.
They,
Gets
they,
out.
get, they, get, they get freed sooner or later.
We'll see them pop up somewhere down the line.
All right, what the fuck tease are they gonna do at the end, bro? Because they're always just likes money, so they're gonna do something.
They gonna show us super and be like,
That was yep.
you know what I'm saying? They gonna. Oh yeah. It's fucking cool.
That's why he's the GOAT. Oh, the GOAT.
There's no fucking way.
I'm like, I don't want to do. I want a shot, bro. Never mind, he wants to do it.
No way. I mean,
Demon
he about
World
to
is
get
so cooked. The Demon
chocolate
World is
bars
so
for everybody.
cooked.
Damn, she got Kamala Harris so hard.
Imagine making a dude out your spit and he outranks you. Came from me, man.
Demon Realm was cooked.
I mean, to be honest,
Demon Realm is actually they're
to be honest,
they're losing.
Arinsu pretty much rules the demon because that nigga gonna do whatever she say anyway.
He's a figurehead, bro.
He's a puppet. Damn, so they're just hiring anybody.
You a demon? We're hiring you. You ain't listened to a word, bro. No.
Nah.
Fuck no.
There goes Toasties.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So
Thank
cooked.
you.
It's,
Thank
it's
you.
so over.
Thank you. How'd that work?
Come, my queen.
Goku needs to stop being so lukewarm about using the power pole. Just use it, man. Stop being scared.
Also, yeah, Goku just blasted a giant fucking hole through the entire dimension. What the fuck they gonna do about that? Or do they even care?
I'm just saying that this man could blast through multiple realms. Beerus is too much? I don't know. Does that man sneeze and blow up a planet? Yeah, but still.
I ain't gonna hold you. That whole time I was expecting somebody to find that bag of bugs and like turn things around.
Accidentally
happen
fused or
as
some
soon
shit
as
as a
he-
gag.
Right.
As soon as the hole like filled up, I thought that's what was gonna happen.
Never not gonna awaken Vegeta too. I was kind of hoping for a Vegeta Super Saiyan 4 too.
Same. Ultra Vegeta 1? Yeah, alright, bro. Hey, 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 yeah, hey, yeah.
I ain't gonna hold you. I might watch that beginning half like 80 times.
Nah,
after this.
facts, facts.
Watch the end of this shit. There gotta be an end credit scene or something.
Rest in peace, the GOAT, the best to ever do it.
Facts.
Daima wonder.
They're gonna show Gohan finally? Probably not.
That'd be funny as fuck. He shows up in the credit scene like, guys,
Yeah.
why was I a baby for a few
There's
days?
Chi-Chi. What happened to Chi? Okay. Come on, show Gohan, bro. That'd be funny as fuck. Lieutenant Trunks back to being this age.
New story.
Look more like they're superhero shits than they do of Z.
Waku waku.
And Gohan didn't even show up once in this whole show.
Nope, not even in the credits. That's hilarious.
Not even
Gohan fans in the mud.
You mean to tell me they trapped in some sealed realm to play PS5 forever? Hold on, they living their life.
No, them niggas is playing Super Nintendo.
Oh, now they bring that bugs up, bro.
It's like, damn, that nigga grew.
Why is this so animated, bro?
Why
Yo,
is this
why
so
is this
animated?
smooth as
Yeah.
fuck? I'm watching a
Really
Ghibli movie? What the fuck?
I would say, I don't know why they animated the fuck out this, bro.
Just more flexing, you know.
No fucking way.
What?
She just selling them?
gonna need
No
to buy these,
fucking
bro.
way.
Damn. Fucking little fun little after credit scene.
Nigga, what?
Fair enough.
Honestly, ballsy move to not tease anything.
Dion didn't like the ending. How are you feeling? I think it depends on what you wanted to get out of it and how much of a standard you were holding this to in terms of it like being canonical or giving you any sort of like fleshed out things with the plot or anything like that. The thing is, like, because of the fact of going into this knowing where it's taking place and then seeing where it went, if you didn't already have it in your head that it's gonna be some shit in here that happens that's not gonna make sense with Super, or have already accepted that by the time we saw Super Saiyan 4, then it's just, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of shit left unexplained. There's a bunch of loose ends in here, shit that we didn't get to see, and it's just like, it's just Dragon Ball at the end of the day. I think for me, I was critical at times of Super for shit like that, but Super had way more time, significantly more episodes and everything like that to be a much more fleshed out story that like made sense, had an actual defined and fleshed out plot and everything like that. Shit that we should have seen, explored, talked about, whatever. Whereas this was like a funny little spin-off 20 episode mini series where it was just like, we just want to have fun. And so for this, I just went into it like, I'm just trying to see a fun little adventure. And I got a lot more out of it than I could have ever expected. And this final episode was eye candy beyond what I think I've potentially ever witnessed in anime, let alone in Dragon Ball specifically. I mean, that fight and that Kamehameha might be like the greatest of all time in Dragon Ball. And for this to be the last thing Toriyama gave us before he passed away just adds that much more to it. And so for me, while I would be lying if I said there aren't some things I wish I got an explanation for, some issues with some of the writing, whatever, it's like at the end of the day, that shit was raw as fuck, dog. And that's all that matters to me.
I also kind of like it like this because it definitely gives them freedom and leeway to do stuff in the future without like tying themselves down right now. They could always revisit, you know, somebody getting those 2 eyeballs and doing something and revisiting Demon World. So I kind of like it open-ended like that. So also I kind of like and I mean it's definitely very Toriyama, very you know, break your ankles, change, like kind of like subvert you a little bit, you know,
Yeah,
do the little
it's Matt
unexpected.
Toriyama to do that.
Yeah, so I kind of
Give
like
you
that,
end credits. That doesn't
Yeah.
allude to anything. It's just a joke.
but I liked it.
End credit scene was mad well animated for no reason. Shit was,
bro.
shit was a whole
Butter.
Ghibli movie.
When Bulma
Butter.
fucking ducked down like that, fucking schmooved, I'm like, yo, like, why they being so extra?
They did
Yeah, I'm
smears in
watching
the
this shit again. Everything's mad animated for some reason.
Yeah, that was incredible. If people have issues with Daima or with a final episode, I completely understand. I just think for me, I accepted and went and like, if I didn't go into it knowing, which I did, but also like by the time I was at least halfway through, and especially once we get to Super Saiyan 4, I'm like, okay, what's happening here? That shit, it's not gonna make sense no matter what the fuck they do. So even if they don't even make an attempt to explain, I'm just going to accept it for what it is. Because nigga, I got to see Super Saiyan 4. I don't give a fuck what you're talking about.
talk.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I did think that they were gonna do something though, and like acknowledge it or like tease this leading into Super or something more than that than what they did. I can't really say that I care that much though, just because like it just was so fucking cool.
Fun ride.
Deanna's live on Twitch. I can have a discussion. That nigga can join the Discord. I mean, he was supposed. The nigga should have watched it with us, but I guess he was just like, nope, I'm gonna just do my own thing and watch it immediately because I ain't waiting on nobody. So you know, it is what it is. The nigga just said, "Fuck you, Lotus. I'm gonna do my own thing." That's cool. But I mean, if the nigga want to pull up, he can pull up. He know where we at.
And the games are gonna love that that whole sequence, man. Shit is gonna be crazy in every game that it's in.
I haven't thought of memory.
I will say though, I did like the Kamehameha when he was in his Super Saiyan 4 kid version.
That one was also really good.
I wouldn't be completely against. I mean, knowing these video games, they're gonna make them two different characters, but I wouldn't mind them just yoinking that from the kid one and just making that the adult one do that. The fucking being hit mid and then still using the Kamehameha was
when that nigga got sucker punched and then flipped upside down, spun around in
Oh
slow
my
mo and said,
gosh.
nigga.
That shit was fire as fuck.
The thing is, I thought that one
That's
was like
my favorite over the Kepler one.
So yeah, so I when that shit happened, I was like, damn, that's like a top 5, maybe top 3 Kamehameha all time. But this one got to go up there too. I don't know, dog. That shit was so nuts. That might be the new greatest one to me. As it was happening, I was comparing it in my head because like the greatest Kamehamehas like in history prior to Daima to me were like UI Goku spinning on Kefla's blast. Like, I'm sorry, that shit was just so fucking wrong.
Yeah, this
like
too cold.
Yeah, that became number 1 when that shit happened. And then you got to throw in like Warp Kamehameha, and then like for me, like it's really not all that. But the first time I saw times 10 Kamehameha, I lost my fucking mind as a kid. So, like that was up there. But like like as that
had so much power. Oh my gosh.
And it's so Daima comes along, the kid Goku Super Saiyan 4 Kamehameha. I'm like, all right, that one's up there. That's gotta be like top 3 now. And then this one happened in real time. I'm like, oh wait, shit, where does this rank? And as I'm thinking about the comparison and as it's fucking happening, it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. I'm like, this shit might be top 1.
I'm looking as Goku powers up to do like that animation is so clean where you see like the smoke literally engulf the whole stage as he powers up.
Dog, like this shit was just ridiculous. Bro, it's like realistically, like that Kamehameha, it's like the 5-minute mark when that nigga puts his fist in the air. That's where I say he starts it, right? So you had like a whole minute of that nigga charging that bitch up, and then another minute and a half of that bitch being fired off. Like that shit was crazy,
bro. Oh my gosh,
fucking lightning and shit when he's charging up.
Yeah,
this shit is so cold, bro. The fucking streaks of lightning and shit.
And then the silhouette of it going right through. This one. If it's not top 1, it's top 2.
You know, that shit was fucking ridiculous.
I've never seen somebody get blasted through 3 dimensions, so extra points.
Also, someone was like, "Why isn't the Kamehameha red?" Well, if it was red, it first of all wouldn't look as good. It wouldn't contrast well with Gomez.
Yeah,
like,
the blue like contrasts so good with like the red sky and shit in this.
It's one of the reasons why that scene looks so good. If it was red, it wouldn't look that good. And that's the only time that Kamehameha is used. So
it's a lot of red on red. Like the sky red, Goma red, he red, eyes red.
Wow, that was incredible.
Not only that, just like the beginnings.
Okay, hold on.
The spin kick.
Dion put like a 5-minute video on Twitter talking about why he didn't like the ending. Let me see what this talking about. What he talking about? He talking about no. He talking about. He talking about no. He talking about. He talking about.
He talking about nothing.
All right, yeah, let's see what they're talking about.
Okay, that's what's frustrating. Because a lot of people who are arguing in favor of Daima, their argument was things like, okay, the series isn't all about big explosions and fights and blah, blah, blah. Okay, there's actual like character development. There's like world building, progression, adventure, etc., etc. Okay, fine. I'll give you that. Okay. And I enjoyed those moments for what it's worth. But then it feels like the creators of the series kind of treated us like, oh, they just care about big fights, big explosions at the end, when they don't actually fucking tie together the lore properly at the end of the episode to set up the entire Dragon Ball Super, which has been taking place over the last fucking 9 years, nearly a decade.
Okay, I don't know if you guys are listening or watching to this as well. I'm talking to chat.
Yeah.
Like, what part of Dragon Ball has ever done this though? Like, the series, the franchise of Dragon Ball has never done a good job of like setting up the next series, and the series that comes after the previous one it's never, you know what I'm saying? Like, nigga,
yeah,
like Super itself is taking place before the end of Z. You know what I'm saying? Like, so Super does the exact same thing where it's like, that shit don't make sense for all of that to be happening before the end of Z, really.
No, I'm gonna be honest. I'm pretty sure, like many manga, like I feel like they have an idea how they want to start, maybe how they want to end. But a lot of this shit with their writers, they're going along with the flow.
Yeah, like
Toriyama. Being honest, the only one that ever has had even like an open ending, even a little bit, is Z. Like the other one is like, yeah, everything is back to normal type, and like, what will happen next time? Who knows?
Yeah,
but like Z's the only thing where like something unexpected happens, and that's the ending.
Toriyama has historically constantly just made shit up as he went along. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's been raw as fuck. And like, yeah, like I said, I've been critical of Dragon Ball in the past as well, but I mean, I still fucking love Dragon Ball. I don't think Daima's any different in that sense, where it's like, I can understand, like, if you want to criticize it for like, oh, like this doesn't logically make sense with everything that we saw in Super and blah, blah, but it's like, yeah, but no other part of Dragon Ball makes sense for what we saw in the other series. So, because like, nigga, Piccolo himself went from being a demon to actually he's an alien from a planet called Namek. Actually, oh wait, no, he is a demon from the actual demon realm that y'all didn't know about that's existed this whole time. And matter of fact, 90% of the population of the Dragon Ball universe is actually a demon. Y'all just didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, that nigga, he just making shit up as he go along. Nigga, Goku was not no fucking Saiyan. Goku was just some random boy with a tail for some reason who could turn into a gorilla. Saiyans did not exist in Dragon Ball until Z, and he decided, what if I make this nigga an alien?
They just had to pay it a little attention, and it's not like they were disregarding the existence of Dragon Ball Super, because they literally show Gowasu in a cutaway where they're showing like how the different universes work and the different
yeah, they did show Gowasu and Zamasu, I think, in that one little scene
eyes and stuff. So they literally reference a character that doesn't appear until the middle of a Dragon Ball Super arc, not in any of the Dragon Ball Z movies.
So like honest, I really don't give a fuck. I really do not give a single fuck, if I'm being so real.
I mean, yeah.
Resurrection F or
I
Battle
really
of God.
don't care.
No, an actual character that was.
I don't give a fuck, man. Like, I really don't.
Sure, but
maybe I'm just like,
if words true,
jaded.
Toriyama also was far more involved in the making of Daima than he was grammar. I'd be misreading people's sentences because they typed it fucked up, and I'd be thinking I'm slow. They just worded it weird. Anyway, so people understandably grammar expected for continuity to be clearer than what we got. Okay, I don't think anything that you just wrote makes sense, not only just because your grammar was poor, but because if Toriyama was way more involved in Daima than he was in Super, then why would it make sense for the continuity to exist between Daima and Super when he hand wrote this and didn't write Super? Which he still had a hand in Super anyway, by the way, for the record. It's not like he didn't write that shit, because he did, at least to some extent. Even if it was just fucking post-it notes he was handing over to Toei or Toritaro or whoever, right? He was involved with the process to some capacity. But even if he wasn't, why would it then make sense for there to be crystal clear continuity between the two when it's basically you're implying that it was two different writers? That makes no sense. Beyond that, we're expecting continuity from Toriyama, the nigga who's got a series that is infamous and notorious for having a shit ton of retcons and plot holes and inconsistencies. The nigga's own timeline, nigga, Dragon Ball Z is full of shit that don't add up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I mean, like, I think if you wanted this expecting continuity, if this was anything else, I get it. That makes sense from a logic standpoint. Yeah, there should be continuity. But this is Dragon Ball, where that has never been the fucking case. So I can't really say I'm surprised or disappointed by that aspect, because that just hasn't been the history of this franchise.
Man, okay,
it's not the Great Gatsby, my nigga. Like,
I'm just looking at all this fucking shit, bro. Be fucking real though. If they fucking made it clear that, oh, this happens before Super. This is why Goku didn't use Super Saiyan 4 against Beerus. This is why Vegeta didn't use Super Saiyan 3 against Beerus. If they explain all of that, right, would that really make the series go from a 9 to a 10 for you? Really though? Really? But I'm serious.
Like, did y'all niggas just see that beam he fired up? Was that shit raw or not? Because I don't give a fuck if they show Gowasu and Beerus and Reese, that shit was still cold.
They gave us 10 minutes of straight scrap, and it's like, how does this tie together? Super's like, bro, did you not see the fight?
Matter of fact,
I get it's a valid criticism or whatever.
We talking about the same Dragon Ball where Trunks' hair is purple in Z, but Bulma's hair is blue. But then when they brought Trunks back in Super, this nigga Toriyama forgot that he made Trunks' hair purple, and the reason why it's blue is because Bulma's hair is blue, and he forgot that originally Bulma's hair is supposed to be purple, and they fucked up when they animated it, and that's why Trunks' hair is purple. He forgot the color. He made his own character just because in the anime it's like, oh, Bulma's hair is blue, so Trunks' hair must be blue. So when I make this new design, I make his hair blue. That Toriyama, that's the continuity we're talking about. The nigga who forgot the nigga who forgot Launch even exists. That continuity, that Toriyama, the nigga who made Super Saiyan blonde so that way he didn't have to fill it in with ink when he drew it, so it could just be white on the page. That Toriyama, come on, bro, like, he's the GOAT, but like, y'all, the expectations is misplaced.
I'm Marin, LMAO.
The nigga, y'all know Super Saiyan 3 doesn't have eyebrows because he just forgot to draw them. Like,
I mean, it's really that, and like the people are expecting this to have like a concrete like ending for Dragon Ball because it's Toriyama's last thing. I don't think they know how he died. He didn't know he was gonna die. He died from a blood clot in his brain. Like,
yeah, the nigga just thought he had a really bad headache. So
yeah, that just happened. Like,
it's not like he went into this knowing
this would be his last work.
Yeah, it's not like he went into this knowing it was gonna be the last thing he was gonna work on.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. Those kind of things to me are just like, they're extra. Like, I really don't tie that into being like, and like, oh, is the series good if it connected to Super? I don't give a fuck about that, really. Like, was the story good on its own? It was good.
Let's say
the story was good.
You damn near got to treat some of Dragon Ball like the shit's independent, like this. You know what I'm saying? But let me see what else he's talking about in this.
Field in Dragon Ball Super was shown in Dragon Ball Daima. Therefore, Dragon Ball Super exists in the minds of the Daima creators. But at the end of the series, they give no indication as to why Super Saiyan 4 is never shown in Dragon Ball Super, when there has been a billion times that Goku could have done it, particularly in the Battle of Gods arc, before he fights against Beerus. Okay, like, he could have done it there. So all we needed, and I get it, you can't go back and change the animation for the shit that happened in Super and like, oh, now he goes Super Saiyan 4 instead. Like, we revamped it, we're gonna just fucking errata this and retcon this, and actually this is how it's gonna work. No, you can't do that. I get it. So all we need in Dragon Ball Daima is just a little indication as to why that's the thing. Just be like, okay, he can't do this because Neva gave him a boost, and that's why he could go Super Saiyan 4.
Honestly, this is valid. I thought that's what they were gonna do. When he went Super Saiyan 4, I just figured that they'd make some bullshit excuse at the end. It's like, oh, like, I can't really do that on my own. Neva gave me a boost or unlocked something within me, so I can't do it again. And that's why we never saw it in Super. And that wouldn't have taken much effort from them in the writing standpoint. They didn't do it, but ultimately, like, I just don't really care.
And that was the belief I wanted to go with when he first did it.
Yeah, this doesn't connect to Super. This is the sequel to Dragon Ball Z. It's not related to Super. Like, it wouldn't.
It's like a little kid.
Would it really change the score for you? Like, I don't, like, that's the thing. Like, if it's not a definitive thing that would change your score, then it doesn't seem like it's part of the actual show. It's just something that, like, you're hung up on. I don't get it. I don't really get it so much because it's just like small, like, plot things to tie this to another property that they made.
Mm-hmm.
before they even thought about this concept.
Like logically,
Like,
I think
don't
the
know.
criticism is valid. It's just that it's Dragon Ball, and it's just that shit has just never added up like that, unfortunately. So
I just think Daima is not worse itself or better, not including those small things connected to Dragon Ball Super. Like, it doesn't make the show any better
Man,
if in episode 7 they connected everything together. It
Super
wouldn't
is
make the show any better.
Super ass. Anyway, let's just overwrite it, bro.
Really though.
But
Redo
at the
Super,
end of episode
redo
19, we're just
Super,
like,
make it
oh,
look like
and
Diamond.
this
I
is
enjoy
broken,
Daima for the world building, and
Same, I enjoy
like
that a lot.
it definitely expands, I guess, the universe and what more, like, because right now Dragon Ball got to the point, like, first it started like on just like a planetary thing, then it opened up to space, then it went to dimensions, and now we got like, you know, Demon Realm, which I guess encompasses all the universes. So like, and who knows how that could expand for like potential villains. So I'm not really looking for the, I guess, the timeline connection. I'm just saying like where this series can go in terms of just progression. Because right now, Dragon Ball has scaled in power and like scale so big that I feel like it was natural to start going into this realm, you know, at this point. So I think that's pretty good. And also, I wouldn't say like look at Daima to try to piece the connections. I think they have the luxury of like doing that in like whatever future project. Like,
Yo,
okay,
Pluto's
let's
World, thank you for the 30 minutes. I
don't know,
appreciate that.
do what they've always been doing and retroactively make it fit, you know?
And they probably will do that at some point, whether it's in a movie or the next anime or at some point in the manga, especially with Toyotaro being such a fanboy. I wouldn't be surprised if he does a new side manga or spinoff or something that acknowledges this or does something with Super Saiyan 4, or if he just incorporates it in the main story, just because like it just wouldn't surprise me. I mean, like Dragon Ball is constantly getting retconned. Daima in itself is a retcon on a bunch of shit, and it just, like I said, like they just constantly change the lore as the series goes on. So I won't be surprised if this gets touched back on at some point. But if it doesn't, like, oh well, the shit was still cool. What else? Yeah, Tom.
pretty much that equivalent, and showing that he could just tap into Super Saiyan 4 whenever the fuck he wanted to. Okay, that means he has full control over the form. That's when I was like, that's why I was so shocked when that happened, because it's just like, bro, if you could do this the whole time, why didn't you ever do that in Super? But okay, maybe, you know, benefit of the doubt, they're gonna tie this all together in the end of Daima. Nope, all they say is, oh yeah, after Boo was strong as hell, so I trained and I learned Super Saiyan 4. I didn't know that shit was gonna work though. Okay, so you knew you could do this before Daima. It wasn't even like his first time doing it in Daima. He indicates that he kind of was tapping into it sometime before Daima even happened. And then Vegeta has Super Saiyan 3. His wife got smacked by Beerus. And you're telling me he decided when he got super mad, he was just going to go to Super Saiyan 2 instead of 3. Like, your wife got smacked. Your wife, like, the one thing you love more than fighting, you stopped fighting so you could take a bath with that woman, okay? You love that woman.
That's
she
true.
got smacked by a
That's
god
valid.
who you know you're weaker than, and instead of going to the Super Saiyan 3 that apparently
shit
you
to
have
me is
because
this nigga-
Daima happens before Dragon Ball Super, no,
He
you're
just
just
like,
going
yo,
to
what
go
the fuck
Super
is that
Saiyan 2.
Super Saiyan
You don't
4
love her
shit?
that
This nigga
much.
said,
You
I'm
don't
just
love her
like
that
that.
much, do you? Oh, okay. So all I needed at the end of Daima was just
Anytime
like
this
a
nigga
little
gets
bit of
a
a
form
little bit
that
of a
is on par, go ahead and get another one.
This is too
I trained a
strenuous
lot
on my
to boot.
body. It's not like, you know, I can't control this as well.
Mind you,
Basically,
to make it even funnier, it ain't been that long since Boo. It's been like a few months, maybe, like
And, nah,
between
this nigga-
Boo and Daima.
Do not piss me off, bro. Like,
Anyway,
the same thought process that went into like why he never goes into Super Vegeta anymore, and instead you master Super Saiyan 1 because Super Vegeta was like too
Daima gave
strenuous
some
on the
of the most
body.
rawest
You know, Super
moments
Trunks, you know,
that
that whatever
we
you
never
call
got
it, the
to
great
see.
whatever the fuck.
We never
Or
got
the
to
Super
see what
bulky,
Vegeta
it's not
Super
optimal
Saiyan
for
3
your
would be.
strength,
We
not
got this
optimal
all
for your
in
body,
raw
so just master
action,
that. So all he had
scrapping.
to do was just do the equivalent of that,
Both
but with
kid
Super Saiyan
and
3.
adult
Except saying,
form.
hey, you know, Super Saiyan 2 is my optimal form.
Also, to answer
So
your
that's
question
why
earlier,
I'm
I
just gonna
think
go
I
Super
kind
Saiyan
of
2.
prefer
If they just
this Super Saiyan 4, although I kind of wish his eyes were yellow.
eyes being yellow would be a good thing. The arm, I still not completely sure about where the hair on his arms ends.
It looks like
He
it
has
ends on
his,
forearms.
yeah, I mean, because it seems like it keeps going to under his little sashes on his wrists, but I can't really tell.
just had those
I
little
don't think we
moments,
saw it
and that's
without
what's
the
frustrating.
sashes, so,
They didn't just.
I mean,
it would have been
I
so
hope it
easy
just goes
for
all
them
the
to
way to
just
his,
like
like,
have this
his-
little
the end of his
dialogue,
wrist or
have this
something.
little moment, and then something
like it
that
stopped
leads
midway
into
through his
why they
forearm.
never do it again. And it also could
There's-
set up
there's a lot
reasons
of-
to go back to the Demon Realm in a future Dragon Ball project that happens after Dragon Ball Super, i.e., let's say a plot point happens. Like I said, they
Yeah, I
lose their
guess 'cause the
divine
times are-
god strength or whatever the
No,
fuck, their god
yeah,
key,
they're just
and they're
shorter as-
restricted to just like
as a
what their
kid,
mortal
so it
body
might
could
be
do. So
different.
like Super
That
Saiyan
little
1, 2,
twirl back that he
3,
do before
and
he
then,
punches
like,
me.
maybe the
Oh
villain
my,
is
this
still
shit
too
is so
strong for
clean.
that. They could beat this hypothetical villain with god form, but they can't tap into their god key. So now they have to go back to the demon realm and then be like, hey, remember that Super Saiyan 4 thing? Yeah, I gotta like be able to bring that out of the demon realm. And then that's a whole fucking arc they could have over there, bring it back, and then Super Saiyan 4 is back on the table. But no, instead, you know, we just have to figure this all out as fans and, you know, just, I guess, start writing shit off or just acknowledge the fact that there's a plot hole and these forms will never be seen again for absolutely no other reason than the fact that they didn't want to add a simple little talking point. But that's fine, I guess, because we're just Dragon Ball fans and all we care about is big fucking explosions, transformations, and yelling, according to the way people see it. That wasn't me, but apparently that's how we have to be perceived, because if I care about the
literally
lore,
ran like a monkey
then who cares? It's just Dragon
2
Ball.
episodes ago.
I think he made some valid points. I just think that like holding Dragon Ball to that standard is just setting yourself up for disappointment, because Dragon Ball has fucked up like that countless times in the past. But yeah, no, that shit was fire. I guess I'll go ahead and knock out my little episode review now, whatever.
Sure.
All right, fellas, I'll catch y'all later. Appreciate y'all.
Baby.
Yeah,
Let
be
me go
easy.
start these. All right, big out.
The series has been the same for decades. It has not changed, so expecting change now of all times is crazy. Yeah. In American comics, they spend way too much time rationalizing every little detail, and it weighs down the current story arc. It really doesn't matter. Are you gonna do a series review as well? Maybe. I don't know if there'd be a ton of interest in that, but let me scroll and see what Van said. I think also because the super manga is still ongoing, there's questions about like what's going to happen there, I guess. Dragon Ball is a series where transformations are a big tentpole of the franchise, so using some and not others in certain instances can take you out of the story in a way. But Dragon Ball does it all the time. Like, how many times does Goku go Super Saiyan instead of just powering up to his maximum form, or like, just, you know what I'm saying, in general, or like even with Super Saiyan 3, like, why didn't he use that shit against Vegeta? You know what I'm saying? Like when he fought him as Majin Vegeta and Super Saiyan 2 Goku, and just it's other shit. Like, it's, you know, I think under normal circumstances, Dion's criticism is mostly valid. There's a couple counterpoints that I make, but like my argument to it is that like, while the criticism is valid, this is stuff that you can apply to like every part of Dragon Ball, especially Z and Super. Even during Granola, he meshed. Well, let's not get into the manga spoilers for people who don't read the manga, but people seem to think that if Daima isn't connected to Super, Daima suddenly isn't canon. At that point, I ask what canon even means. Well, here's the thing: Dragon Ball fans have always had this extremely weird obsession with canon, as if it fucking matters, because it doesn't. Even if like the idea that Super Saiyan 4 is now a canon thing, even if we never see it again, like that's cool. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? That it is kind of hype. But simultaneously, like growing up, I never gave a fuck. Like none of the Dragon Ball movies are canon until, well, I guess not even Battle of Gods and Resurrection F are technically canon anymore because they were overwritten by the Super versions, which it's still the same story, but it's a little different. But like, I guess just to make things like simpler, like we'll say, like basically up until Battle of Gods, none of the movies are canon. Dragon Ball GT is not canon. Does that mean that they're bad or that it's not cool, that we can't like them or enjoy them? No. So why niggas always gave so much of a fuck about what's canon and what's not canon is so beyond me. I think it's always been a super, super weird obsession. The only time canon matters to me is when we are discussing factual statements about the series, whether that's power scaling, which I really don't give a fuck about in and of itself, or like we're discussing information or history of the series or something like that, right? Because at that point, then you have to take into account the actual canon of the story and not shit that came from the movie or a filler episode. Then it becomes relevant. But we're just talking about conversation about what we like and what we don't like, what's cool, whatever. Like, I don't know. Like on the internet for the last 2 decades, I've always seen people like debate and argue about canon, and it's like, nigga, who fucking cares? Do you like the shit or not? If you do, then why does it matter? Anyway, let's get into this this little review. Check, mic check, mic check. I actually disagree with both of you for a couple of reasons. Elaborate. You can continue this conversation before I jump into this review. Cooler's not canon. I don't know if we'll see him again. They might bring that nigga back. Who knows, bro? Where Dragon Ball be going? Who really knows where Dragon Ball goes now that Toriyama's, you know, gone? Like the conversation of is Super Saiyan God stronger than Super Saiyan 4? I mean, it's not really something I care about whether or not it's stronger or not. But I guess if you do want to have that conversation, then you would have to assume that logically Super Saiyan God is stronger because Super Saiyan 4 shows up in Daima and God comes later, but it's Dragon Ball, so who really knows? What's logical isn't always logical in Dragon Ball. Waiting to see what Van is saying. He must be over there typing up a storm. I really hope they keep this art style. I hate the Vaseline looking super. They probably won't. Well, it depends on how they do the anime moving forward, whether it'll be more short series or if it's seasonal or if it's movies. If it's another long running series like Super, they won't maintain this level of quality when it comes to the art and the animation just because it's so much more difficult and expensive to maintain at that caliber. So for me, the biggest difference between Japanese and American comics is that there's only one Dragon Ball issue. Issue 1 meaning that the story or integrity of the story, aka the canon, exactly what the author wills from start to finish, and why manga is selling better than American comics. There's like 5 different Spider-Man #1s, and because of that, fans have no idea where to start, what's going on, or who the characters are. Can you ignore everything and say, oh, this looks cool? Sure, but I sort of... I mean, so far, I don't see how anything you just said is like a disagreement with anything that I said. To me, yeah, that's understood, and I agree with all that so far. Hold on, let me back. Sure, but I sort of expect more from stories I consume. I expect you to think of consequences and your characters going and changing over time. If there's no canon, none of that shit matters at all. I 100% agree with you. My only point is that Dragon Ball historically has shown me that I shouldn't be too invested in things like that because they constantly overwrite, retcon, plot hole. You know what I'm saying? Like Dragon Ball, my whole life has not been a super meticulous, detailed story where they constantly maintain that level of quality in the writing and storytelling to where that should be my expectation. I expect that from everything else. I don't from Dragon Ball because I know that's not what I'm going to get, and that's not what I got here, and so I'm not disappointed or surprised by it. It's valid criticism for sure. I'm not gonna chastise anyone or like tell them that they're wrong necessarily for thinking that or wanting that or expecting that. Well, I would say that you're setting yourself up for disappointment by expecting that from Dragon Ball because this is not what we get. I think you just got to go to other series for that. You know what I mean? As far as like canon mattering or not, canon matters in that aspect. But what I'm saying is that I see canon get brought up all the time, all the time in order to, how do I explain? On the internet, for the last 10 to 20 years, I have seen people use whether or not something is canon to dictate whether or not it's any good, or whether or not you should like it, or whether or not it's cool, or anything like that. It's like, oh, it's not canon, so it doesn't matter. Oh, it's not canon, so that shit is whatever. And it's like, I don't care. I liked it. Like, it doesn't have to be canon for you to like it. It doesn't have to be canon for it to be enjoyable or to be good. That's all I'm saying. Like, yeah, the canon matters for the consistency and the continuity of the storyline and the characters and the world and the development of all that and the plot. But like I said, Dragon Ball is a story that started off with Goku is just this random monkey boy with a tail. Turns out he's an alien. Okay. Okay, sure. He's an alien from a whole nother planet. Okay. Thought he was just some random monkey boy that was found in the woods. Okay, that one's not too egregious. Demon King Piccolo is the Demon King. Okay, sure. He looked like a demon. Oh, actually, he's an alien from the planet Namek. And there's a bunch of other people that look just like him. Oh, actually, no, he really was a demon, though. From the demon realm. By the way, there's a demon realm. Oh, by the way, the Kais that we told you guys were gods all along, those are actually demons, too. They're also from the demon realm. Turns out like 90% of the Dragon Ball world is from this demon realm. By the way, remember, speaking of gods, remember when Kami was God? And then remember when King Kai was like above him? And then the Supreme Kai is above him? And the Elder Kai is above him? And the Grand Kai is above him? And then like Beerus and Whis are like even higher than that. And then oh, by the way, there's a Grand Kai or a fucking what's the nigga, the Master Angel, I forget his name. And then there's, you know what I'm saying, they just keep like Kami was God. Like that was the most supreme deity that we have in Dragon Ball. And they just, oh, by the way. And that's just Dragon Ball. They just do that over and over and over again for so many different aspects of the story. And so it's just like, at what point do I continue to expect it to just be this one thing? Because like for me, that's not, you could look at that to some degree as like world building, right? It's like, oh, the world just keeps expanding and what we thought wasn't the case. But it's like I'm just picking that as an example. They do that with so many different aspects of Dragon Ball and shit, where it's like, this is how this is. Actually, it's this. Actually, it's this. Actually, it's this. No, actually, it's this. You know what I mean? Where it's like, to me, that doesn't necessarily feel like organic progression and expansion of the story in the world. A lot of the times it feels like making shit up as I go along, because that's what it is, and that's what it always is for the most part. Like the mass majority of writers and storytellers, they don't have every single detail planned out, especially in a manga, right? These weekly series, like I'm sure Oda didn't have these 1,000+ chapters planned out when he started chapter 1. He might even if he had a couple hundred or a few hundred chapters, or even like a loose outline of how he wants the beginning of the story to go, the middle and the end, I think he already has ending planned out. I'm sure he didn't have every arc mapped out and like all, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of shit that he's making up as he goes, and it's your job as a writer and as a storyteller to figure out how to incorporate that in a way that's organic and logical and makes sense and coincides with what you've already previously established in the story. Dragon Ball just doesn't really do that a lot, though, so I just don't expect it. The story in itself doesn't satisfy the audience in a basic way. If you're not satisfied, like, I understand. I completely understand. Can't wait till someone is above Zeno. You know what I mean? No one talks about how confusing they made Pataras again. Right, because remember when Pataras were permanent and then it wore off because Boo is weird? And then it actually, there's a time limit. Oh, actually, but like if you're too powerful, the time limit gets even shorter. It's like, you know what I mean? Like they establish a rule and then they just rewrite the rule whenever they feel like it. Oda literally made the worst generation right before he showed them. I don't know, but like, I believe it. I don't mind Dragon Ball retcons and later on, oh, by the way, because it still works in the universe, and if they change it, then I accept it because the characters in the universe besides ATM. Says at the moment the Angels Zeno have all this. Okay, I get you. You were just actually saying at the moment. I was trying to figure out if that was like an abbreviation for a character or something. Daima's great, don't get me wrong, but I don't know where they're taking this now. I mean, I don't either, but who knows? All right. Anyway, we can continue this more, but let me knock out this recording. Let's get it. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lotus Asakura, the one who never knows best, and in today's video, bring you my final review for Dragon Ball Daima, episode 20, the grand finale. And boy, what a finale it was. And I have a lot that I could say and that I probably will say. This might end up being my longest review because there's a lot of things to talk about when it comes to this. And I'll say this: I enjoyed the episode a lot. I was so hyped and excited, and I was mind blown. This episode was insane and very enjoyable for me. But I completely understand if it wasn't enjoyable for you and if you are dissatisfied with the ending, because there's a lot left to be explained, or a lot that went unexplained. So quick little recap of the episode. I mean, I know y'all watched it, but like, this was me, by the way, for like the first 8 minutes of that episode. And this is where I insert the clip of me reacting and going to the episode. Yeah, because there was no opening for this episode. We just out the gate, off rip, just straight to the action. Just Goku and Goma just throwing hands, haymakers, boxing, smears, blast, boom, blam. Just the most insane level of flexing I've ever seen from an anime. Like, that animation was ridiculous. Never in my life did I think I would see this quality and this prolonged amount. You know what I'm saying? It was like 8 minutes straight, bro. We were five whole minutes into the episode. I looked at the time, 5 minutes into the episode before a single word was spoken, and the word was Sugoi, or no, maybe it was Subarashi. It was like the people on the sideline, like Pansy and Bulma, they said amazing on the sidelines as Goku and Goma are just having the craziest fight probably in the history of Dragon Ball. I'm not gonna lie. And I know that sounds like recency bias and me hyping up, and maybe it is, but let me live in the moment a little bit. Just let me live in the moment just a little bit, okay? It was insane. That fight was absolutely ridiculous. 5 minutes before a single word was spoken, and then still 3 more minutes of nonstop action. And listen, I appreciate lore and storytelling and world building as much as everybody else. I enjoyed those parts and the slice life moments that we got in Dragon Ball Daima and the adventure and everything like that. My favorite part of Dragon Ball, my favorite part of the entire franchise, is the original, when it wasn't giant beam blasts and power that was capable of destroying planets and everything like that. And it was a lot more grounded. It was based in martial arts. That's my favorite part of the story. But when you handle it like this, when it's done like this, where for 8 straight minutes it's on the quality of a movie like Broly, that was ridiculous. So we get that all-out brawl between Goku and Goma, and Goku fires off what has to be easily, again, say recency bias, live in the moment, whatever you want. I'm sorry, that's bare minimum top 5, but for me, probably top 3, and maybe even arguably top 1 Kamehamehas of all time. When we take a look at the history of Dragon Ball, we think of all the greatest Kamehamehas of all time. I can understand if you, and again, as somebody who appreciates OG Dragon Ball the most, if you want to throw Master Roshi doing the original Kamehameha in there for the first time when he destroyed Ox King's castle trying to put the fire out, cool, I get it. Seeing that for the first time, iconic, classic. I ain't even gonna argue with you. It's not my personal favorite, but I ain't gonna argue with you on that one. But when I think about like my list of the greatest Kamehamehas in history, right? For me, number 1 before Daima, even though I'll talk trash about Super, and even though I don't love Ultra Instinct Goku, I'm sorry, UI Goku sliding with the Kamehameha across Kefla's blast, and then that's number 1. That was the greatest Kamehameha in history. That is too cold. It's too cold, okay? That was number 1 for me. You also got to throw the instant transmission or the warp Kamehameha that Goku did against Cell. Another one, all-timer, classic, iconic, gotta be up there. I think that one was really, really good. Father-son Kamehameha with obviously Goku and Gohan versus Cell. That one's like, actually, no, probably above it. You know what I'm saying? That's up there as well. And then you've got the times 10 Kamehameha in GT. Like, is it really on that level? No, but that one's nostalgia more than anything, where it's just like, me as a kid, I lost my mind seeing that, and it was one of my favorite moves in the games growing up as a kid. Like, seeing a red Kamehameha was just so dope to me. But this one, first of all, you got Kid Goku in Super Saiyan 4 in Daima. He did one where he got sucker punched during the charge up and then like backflipped, spun around in midair, slow motion, turn around and still fired off the blast. All timer. And this one, to quote one of the all-time greats, was to go even beyond, because that, bro, when Goku put his fist in the air and the lightning starts surrounding him and going off, and he starts charging up, and all the aura and the energy and the rocks and the dust, and it was like a full minute of him charging up this blast, like literally a full minute at least of him charging up this blast, and then firing it off itself was like another full minute. It was like a straight 2 minutes Kamehameha, and it was probably the most well animated Kamehameha in the entire history of Dragon Ball. And the animation, like, listen, when we talk about impact in terms of like its impact on anime as a whole or Dragon Ball as a series and how iconic it is, will this be up there as one of those in terms of like iconicness and impact? Probably not. But just in terms of sheer cool factor, rawness, and obviously the level of quality when it comes to the animation, that's the greatest one ever. I think that's the greatest one ever, and that might go down as one of my all-time. And it's Super Saiyan 4. Like, come on! It was so cold. It was so beautifully drawn and animated. And that goes for this entire episode. So Goku fires that off, and it just pierces Goma, just a hole straight through, like straight special beam cannon style, just a hole in his gut. And it not only does that, but like blasts through the entirety of the demon realm, like through all 3 dimensions, like all the realms, just like I mean, you seen it, I saw it, you seen that, I saw it. It was, I'm still geeking out about it. And this is like over an hour after I watched the episode, because I also sat down and talked with the homies after we watched it, and I'm just like, bro, like it was insane. And then that gets followed up by Piccolo coming in to finish him off, right? Because remember, this was all so that they could get 3 blows to the back of his head to take out the tertian oculus and defeat Goma. And then Piccolo jumps in, manages to get in 2 blows, and then Goma knocks his ass out. And then Majin Ku eventually manages to leap in while Goku's got him distracted. And remember that book Adansu had him go fetch? Yeah, he smacks him upside the head 3 times with the book, pops out the tertian oculus, Goma steps on it, down goes Goma. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a little anticlimactic, but it was very goofy and very Toriyama and very Dragon Ball. So like, I can't even say I was surprised. I was like, are you dead ass? Like, yeah, like after such an insane battle, it was a bit goofy ending it like that, because like that was one of the wildest and craziest fights I've ever seen. Not even in just Dragon Ball, just in anime. And I've seen some crazy fights. I've seen my fair share. You know what I'm saying? I've seen more anime than Dragon Ball, believe it or not. And that was just nuts. Like that was just insane. And then it gets ended with him getting smacked in the back of the head 3 times with a book. But whatever. We're going to fly through basically the rest of this recap, because I have other things like about the episode and about Daima as a whole that I kind of want to discuss with you guys. And I feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below, because I want to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions and feelings on this, because I know a lot of people will agree with me, a lot of people are going to disagree with me, and I'm going to try to acknowledge both perspectives and both sides and play a little bit of devil's advocate as well as voice my own opinion on this. But that being said, we'll get to that when we get to that. So finishing off the episode, like I said, the tertian oculus gets knocked out of Goma's head. He's basically defeated. Glorio steps on it, squashes it, boom, it disappears, and he gets captured. So yeah, and then, you know, everybody congregates. Oh my God, hooray, we did it! Yeah, Jason Tatum. You know what I'm saying? We won the championship. Ball knowers, you know. And then you know, Adansu gathers around, and Majin Ku and Majin Du and everybody, and they bring out this like genie lamp thing, I guess, to like seal Goma in, but not before Degasu pops back out, because I guess they had him in there as well. By the way, Degasu, what a waste of a character. I really thought there was going to be a little bit more with him, and he got knocked out by a hat, and then that was him. That was the end of Degasu. That was pretty lame. Anyway, Degasu and Goma get sealed inside this genie lamp, and everybody has a laugh about it, whatever. By the way, in the post-credit scene, they're shown inside the lamp, like playing Super Nintendo or something. I thought that was kind of funny. So with Goma defeated, obviously somebody's got to become the new Supreme Demon King, and everyone suggests, hey, Adansu, how about you do it? You wanted to do it anyway. She's like, me, y'all know I was serious about what I said before, because like Supreme Kai and all, like, nah, you got a little bit of good in you. It was you talk about wanting to create the demon world and making it be a scary, villainous place and full of chaos or whatever. But like, hey, you still got a little bit of a conscience there. We see the good in your heart. She's like, ew, no, like, ew, no. Y'all crazy. Y'all tripping. You know what I'm saying? Me? Good? Conscious? Please. But anyway, they're like, you should become the Demon King anyway. And she actually refuses and declines, because she's like, I don't want to be the Demon King without me having like granted special powers or abilities from the Dragon Balls, because then someone's just going to overthrow me anyway. And they're like, well, by the rules, you know what I'm saying? It's like whoever defeats the previous Demon King is the new ruler. And then they're all like, oh, so that would mean, and they turn to Majin fucking Ku. and Ku becomes the new Supreme Demon King, and then appoints Adansu as his Vice Supreme Demon King, and then appoints several ministers. So he appoints Majin Du as a minister, Glorio as a minister, Pansy's father as a minister. The Demon Realm is so cooked. the Demon Realm is so cooked. So yeah, and they all celebrate and hooray, hip hip hooray, whatever. And then we get towards the end of the episode, and Goku and Vegeta are bickering a little bit because Vegeta's kind of pissed off. He's like, "Yo, you had Super Saiyan 4 this whole time, and you ain't never told me." And this is where we start getting to the points that probably bothered a lot of people and rub people the wrong way, and where I can see you'd have an issue with the ending, because even more so than like maybe the ending with Ku being a little anticlimactic compared to how that fight went on for 8 minutes at the start of this episode and everything we've been through to that point or whatever. Goku explains that after they fought Buu, he just trained a little bit more because Buu was so strong and he unlocked Super Saiyan 4. He just didn't think it was going to work. So he just kind of pulled that out, which like it's only been like 6 months or something. Like, it hasn't been that long since the Buu saga. Because remember, Daima's taking place in between Z and Super, which is also kind of weird because Super takes place before the end of Z itself. So Super is also taking place before Z, but during, you know what I'm saying? It's Dragon Ball. Don't think too hard about it. You're only gonna get upset. So yeah, that's a thing. And he's like, and Goku's like, oh, by the way, I mean, you had Super Saiyan 3. And he's like, Vegeta's like, no, that wasn't Super Saiyan 3. That was Ultra Vegeta 1. I don't know why he was so bashful about it, but whatever. So yeah, we did not get any explanation whatsoever about why Goku and Vegeta do not use those forms at all in Super. And I thought that they would just add in just a brief line where it would be something like, oh, you know, Neva had a hand in it with his abilities. He unlocked a special power in them, or something in the demon realm, you know, aided in their ability to do that. It's not something that they can just access whenever. But, you know, that would have made a little bit of sense when they were kids, but then they turned into adults after the wish was granted, and they still were able to, you know what I'm saying? So I don't really know. It's like, as the episode went on, you realize, okay, they're not really going to address this. They're not going to tie this into Super. They're not going to acknowledge why these forms never show up in the Super anime or in the movies or anything like that. Like, why we never see this stuff in Battle of Gods, Resurrection F, Tournament of Power, Universe 6, or anything like that, when it's like it makes so much sense for these things to show up. My homie Dion, aka C-Rex, as y'all know him, did not like the ending. He took a lot of issue with it. He had some qualms with it that I think was mostly pretty valid, about how he was not in love with the ending because he just feels like it's too many plot holes and inconsistencies, and it doesn't tie in with the continuity of Super and everything like that. And that brings me to like the main part of the discussion I want to get into, even though we're already like 12-13 minutes into this video. We're now getting to the actual part where I really wanted to talk to y'all about, and it's not just me geeking out about how fucking cool the episode was to watch from a visual standpoint, because it was just straight eye candy. Actually, real quick, there's just a few more things we acknowledge at the end. Vegeta mentioned something about a Super Saiyan bargain sale. They threw that line in there. They talk about the Super Saiyan 3, and then there was a post-credit scene where they stopped by the shop where they originally got the bugs. No fusion. Fusion never happened. It was a bait and switch all along for Super Saiyan 3 and Super Saiyan 4. That's fine by me. I like Super Saiyan 4 anyway. Also, there's like these beauty bugs, and Bulma's like, oh, yo, I can get me some beauty bugs and, you know, de-age my skin by 10 years. Also, in the back of the shop, Pansy finds a dusty old jar in a corner where the woman who sells the Medi bugs, you know, the revival bugs and the butte bugs and everything like that, the fusion bugs, there's a couple of eyeballs in there. Hey, what's this? Oh, those are Tertian Oculus. You know, I sell them. They're like really rare and expensive though, and you know, people are kind of scared of them, whatever. So I've only ever sold one like a long time ago. I'll give you a special discount, and there's just 2 Tertian Oculus in the jar, and then that's how the episode ends. What? Also, that end credits episode, or that end credit scene was like overly animated in like a really good way. It was like my homie was like, yo, am I watching a Ghibli movie right now? Just the way like the characters were, like the movement was, and anyway, that being said, getting back to what I was talking about with the actual discussion. So they don't acknowledge Super in any way outside of like the one scene where they're discussing like the demons and the Kais and stuff, and they show like Gowasu and stuff. They don't talk about why Goku won't use Super Saiyan 4, why Vegeta doesn't use Super Saiyan 3, anything like that. And it really wouldn't have been that difficult, in my opinion, or taken too much effort to just throw in a line where they could have done so much. Like, you could have talked about like their memories got wiped. It had something to do with the demon realm and like the atmosphere, the energy in there, something to do with like Neva's abilities, and he unlocked something within them. There's so many things you could have just thrown in. You know, you really could have just been like, it was Neva, because Neva has the whole thing. Like, Vegeta going Super Saiyan 3, like, you could say at the end of the episode, he could have said, I'm never using that form again because I can't stand to be compared to you, Kakarot, or something like, you know what I'm saying? Because that's Vegeta. That makes sense. You could have just made it like, I'm never using that shit again because I don't want to be like, you know what I'm saying? Just something. So I don't want to use your signature technique, Kakarot. Because remember, Vegeta can use instant transmission. Actually, that's a spoiler for, I don't know how many of y'all in chat, but that's a I'll probably cut that out of the video. I'll probably cut that out of the video. Yeah. I'm so sorry if I spoiled anyone in chat who did not know that. I was just flowing and I just see if I was recording this off air, that wouldn't have been an issue, but I'm live, so yeah. See, I can cut that out of the YouTube video, but for you who are watching me do this live, that's not a huge deal. It's not like a huge spoiler, but like it is a spoiler nonetheless, and I don't want to downplay it just because I made a mistake just now. But yeah. We're just gonna cut that out of the video. I have a reason why I brought that up because there's something else to acknowledge alongside that, but I won't go into further detail for those of you who don't read the manga. It would just make sense. Vegeta's a very powerful man. You could have thrown in any arbitrary reason as to why he doesn't want to be like Kakarot and use it. Cool. And with Goku, it's like, oh, Neva. It was he was able to go Super Saiyan 4 because of Neva. Boom, problem solved, end of story, whatever. But because they didn't do that and they didn't take the time to do that or like even put forth that much effort, it's gonna raise a lot of issues with a lot of different people, my homie Dion included. And here's my thing, okay? I would be lying to you if I said I don't have a lot of questions that were raised because of Daima. I'd be lying to you if I said there weren't some issues in this story with the writing, if there weren't inconsistencies, continuity issues, retcons, plot holes. Here's my thing. While I understand his criticism and your guys' criticism, if you share the same complaints, I think that is valid. However, the problem with that is that Dragon Ball historically has been full of those issues. So when you're expecting a certain level of quality from the writing and storytelling out of Dragon Ball to where those are things that you have major qualms with, I think you set yourself up for disappointment because Dragon Ball is a story that has constantly retconned itself, has constantly made stuff up as it went along, has constantly like changed its own rules and things like that. And like Toriyama just has a history of doing stuff like this where certain things just don't get explained or certain things that you thought were one way actually aren't. And like this is a decently big one for sure. But it's like, remember in the original Dragon Ball when Goku wasn't a Saiyan, he was just some weird monkey boy with a tail, like, you know what I'm saying? And then we go all of Dragon Ball and it turns out, oh, Goku's actually an alien from another planet and they're called Saiyans. And oh, by the way, Goku has a brother. You know what I mean? It's like, well, where's he been for the last 20 years? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's, you know what I mean? And then remember when Demon King Piccolo was a demon? Oh, turns out he's an alien too. He's from another planet called Namek, actually. And then in Daima, it turns out, oh, by the way, yeah, we said, yeah, we are demons, actually. We're from the demon realm. By the way, there's a demon realm with like 3 different dimensions or realms or whatever. You remember Deborah? Yeah, it's like a whole world down here. Matter of fact, like 90% of the Dragon Ball world is actually demons. Anybody who got pointed ears, it's a demon. That includes the Kais. Oh, speaking of the Kais, speaking of Kami and the Namekians, remember when Kami was God? Remember when that was like the most supreme deity in the world? Like that was Kami. He oversees Earth. He's God. And then you find out that like King Kai is a thing. And then like Supreme Kai is a thing. And then like Grand Kai is a thing. And Elder Kai is a thing. And then you got Beerus and Whis and all the angels. And then you have the Grand Master Angel, whose name is escaping me again right now for some Grand Priest and Zeno. So it's like, by the way. Remember when Potara fusion was permanent? And then Vegito unfused for some inexplicable reason inside Super Buu? And we just explained it as like, oh, there's just some nasty stuff going on inside Buu, I guess. He just, you know what I mean? And then it turns out, oh, actually there's a time limit on Potara fusion. I guess. Even though Kibito and Supreme Kai, okay, whatever. And the time limit gets even smaller the more powerful you are. Okay, like you know what I mean. There's just so many examples where it's like Dragon Ball establishes something, and then later on Toriyama or someone at Toei or Birdseed or whatever Shueisha's is like, I know we said this, but like, what if we do this? You know what I mean? And then when it talks about plot holes and inconsistencies and stuff, like, don't even get me started. Like, and people act like this is something that's new or exclusive to like Super or Daima. It's not. It's not. It's been there since Z. And maybe if you look hard enough, it's probably there in Dragon Ball as well. But definitely since Z, they have been constantly doing this, where there are these issues, these plot holes, these inconsistencies, these retcons, continuity errors, and everything like that. And if you have problems with that, if you're criticizing that, that's valid. You have a right to do that. And you're right in criticizing those things and saying that it should be better. Okay? I'm not mad at you for that. However, Dragon Ball has been going on since like what, 1985? It's been 40. Whoa, it's been 40 years. Okay? So when you have multiple decades of a story doing this, at some point it's no longer the story's fault. I mean, it still is, but it's you know, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. It's just fool me the 100th time, and you're expecting something to be different. And when it constantly, like, Dragon Ball has shown you what it is as a franchise, and so just expecting it to be like clear cut, clean, and concise, and you know, just detail oriented in its story, and you know what I'm saying. I think you just set yourself up for failure and disappointment that way, because it just hasn't done that historically. You know what I'm saying? So while the criticism I do think is valid, and while you have a right to be upset or disappointed by it, I think if you didn't already go into Daima expecting stuff like that in the first place, you definitely, by the time Super Saiyan 4 came around, should have been like, oh yeah, this probably, they not gonna make this shit add up with Super at all. Like, you know what I mean? I don't remember if I mentioned this already, but Super in and of itself takes place before the end of Z. Super in and of itself is taking place within Dragon Ball Z, and now we're inserting Dragon Ball Daima in itself. Like, Super is kind of sort of a prequel itself, and that introduces its own issues, and then Daima's a prequel to the prequel. You know what I mean? Because in case y'all forgot, Dragon Ball Z ends with Goten and Trunks as teenagers. It's a 10-year time skip. Pan is like 4 or 5 years old at the end of Z. She's still a baby. Well, she's actually, Dragon Ball Super is now finally getting to the point where it's catching up with the end of Z, which I'm very curious to see how that goes at this point. Because Pan is like, what, 3 years old now in Super? She's like 4 or 5 at the end of Z. But even still, like I said, Super is taking place within Z, which is, you know, so it's just like, it's always been like this weird, confusing mess with timelines, and we established these facts, but we decided to change it later on, and you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I'm not necessarily trying to, I guess I am in a way, like I'm excusing it or justifying it, but it's not about saying that it's okay, but it's just like, it is what it is, you feel me? And beyond all of that being said, all that aside, the shit was raw. Okay, this is one of the coolest episodes of Dragon Ball of all time. Like, it was just eye candy for days. The fight was dope. We got one of the coolest looking Kamehamehas of all time, and I got to see my favorite transformation, the GOAT that is Super Saiyan 4. So at the end of the day, that's all I really care about. If it's cool enough, I'll give it a pass. And that's just anime and manga, and for me with media in general, for the most part, I guess, is that like, I will criticize something up to a certain point, but if it's cool enough, I'm gonna let it rock. Because at the end of the day, media is supposed to be entertaining. And I thought that shit was mad entertaining. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have had my criticisms of Dragon Ball in the past as well. Like, I have criticized Super as well for a lot of these same things, but I don't think Super was nearly as cool for 99% of it. So that's the difference. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people did not agree with me a month or two ago when I said Daima was better than Super. I think people are starting to turn over a new leaf. I know some of you will still vehemently disagree with me. That's fine. Teach their own. We can all have their own opinion. I enjoyed Daima way more than I enjoyed Super, especially these last several episodes. Like, I don't think Super comes close. Now, the manga, like I said, the manga material is another story though. If we ever get Granola and Moro and that stuff animated, that's some top tier Dragon Ball stuff right there. I still want to see that animated one day. One day, I hope. By the way, all the official Dragon Ball accounts have been like tweeting about Moro lately. I don't know if that means like we about to get some continuations. There's a movie coming, there's a new series, whatever. I thought maybe there's potential for a teaser or something in this episode. There wasn't. They didn't, like I said, they didn't lead it into or tie it into anything else post Daima, but it is what it is. But my bottom line is that while there are valid criticisms and issues with the continuity and the writing in this, and while it would have been so easy for them to just throw in like a couple lines, like 1 or 2 lines of dialogue that would explain why we don't see Super Saiyan 4 Goku or Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta in Super. While they could have done that, shit was gas. I ain't gonna lie. But why does Dragon Ball get this pass? It's just because nostalgia, I guess. Dragon Ball is Dragon Ball. It's one of the biggest, most popular, mainstream, influential series of absolute all time. Akira Toriyama's the GOAT. We grew up with this series and we love it. And so we just give it a pass because it's cool. You know? If you don't give it that pass, if you still want to criticize it, that's fair, I guess. I ain't gonna change my opinion in my mind. You know what I mean? Open the discussion though. I really want to see how you guys feel. And hear what your complaints or your criticisms are, if you have any, and how you feel when it comes to like stuff being canon or not, and the continuity and tying it in with Super. Because like I said, while I hear you, while I understand where y'all are coming from, it's Dragon Ball. So like, yeah, what you're saying makes sense. Like, yeah, it is stupid that we don't see these forms again. It would have been so easy for them to throw in just a couple of lines of dialogue to help explain some of that stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. But episode was cool. I liked it a lot. I feel like I had a even more that I want to say, because we would have a big discussion about this on my stream right now as I'm recording this, because I've always recorded these live on stream, and I had a discussion with the homies earlier. But I'm sure you guys will bring up some stuff in the comments that I forgot to like mention or acknowledge. So if you do, I'll just try to be very adamant, or not, well, adamant's a fine enough word, but proactive with responding to you guys in the comments. Yeah, I mean, it's all in all, I enjoyed Daima start to finish. This last stretch of episodes was jam-packed with some of the craziest action Dragon Ball has ever had. It was very enjoyable. I got to see Super Saiyan 4, which made me feel like a kid again, and was something that I didn't think I'd ever see show back up in Dragon Ball media, especially official Dragon Ball media. And it was an incredible ride. I'm glad to see that a lot of people did change their tune, because people were hating on Daima very, very heavily before it came out. Like, extremely, like, people basically wanted this story to fail. People were saying that they weren't going to watch it. They were extremely disappointed. And to the point where, like, I feel like people were being extremely entitled, because again, I brought it up multiple times throughout Daima in these reviews. I want to see Granola and Moro and everything else get animated. I would have wanted to see that probably even more than Daima. Now, would I have wanted that over Daima if I had known that Daima was going to give me Super Saiyan 4? I don't know, but I still really, really want to see that. And before we knew any details of Daima, yeah, I would have preferred that as well, easily. Before we had information on Daima, before I knew what it was actually going to have in store for me. But it's like, I'm still grateful for what we got, especially now. But I'm glad to see people like actually did take the time to watch it and enjoy it, because shit was fun. Anyway, I think that's gonna do it for this video, for this episode. Rest in peace to Akira Toriyama. Thank you for everything. Life would be so different if it wasn't for you, and I'm so grateful and appreciative for what Toriyama has done for me in my life, because I'm not Lotus Asakura. I'm not where I am today. I'm not talking to you guys right now if it's not for Akira Toriyama. You know, he's had such an incredible impact on my life, and my life would be vastly, vastly different, and probably significantly worse if it wasn't for Toriyama. So rest in peace to the GOAT, man. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit this video with a like if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you can stay tuned for all this content when I bring you. With all that being said, that's pretty much all I have today. And remember, nothing can happen to you, swing the bat. Later. Cool. Completely unrelated. Check whispers real quick. Probably very time sensitive. Just the last minute. He's trying to get me to make some bad decisions. Oh, chat, by the way. I remember them Union Jordan 1s I was talking about last stream. So for those of you who don't know, a brand new pair of limited edition collaboration sneakers between Union LA and Air Jordan released that I really wanted. They're very exclusive, sought after, and are very valuable on the resale market. The sneaker is currently selling upwards of $600 to $700. They released officially on the Union website yesterday, and I entered the raffle in order to potentially win a chance to purchase a pair. So that happened yesterday at about 11 a.m. Eastern time. I entered the raffle. We sat on stream for a while, and you know, they were like, hey, yeah, we'll email you later today if you won, whatever, cool. And when you entered, it's like if you are chosen, you'll have a 3-hour window where you must purchase your pair. I was like, okay, 3-hour window, that's cool. It's a decent little time. There was no indication of like when you would be receiving the email. It just said later that day. The raffle opened at 11 a.m. Me being me, I had been up all night the night before without any sleep. And while I was still wide awake, I was convinced to take a nap so that I could be awake later in the night or later that day, being yesterday, in order to stream Monster Hunter, which ultimately I didn't even end up doing. And you can probably infer where this story is going. I won the raffle. I won the raffle for these shoes. And I missed out because I was asleep. I went to sleep around 12 o'clock. And I was supposed to be a 2 to 3 hour nap. It was really supposed to be a 2-hour nap. Went to sleep around 12. At about 2:07, I received an email saying that I had won and to go purchase my pair. Now, remind you, it said that we had a 3-hour window. In my head, I'm thinking that means that if you're selected for the raffle, your pair will be reserved for you and you have 3 hours to claim your pair before it's given to someone else. I thought that was a reasonable and rational, logical conclusion for anyone to draw, an assumption to make. I was wrong. I hit snooze on my alarm when it went off at some point, and I woke up a little bit later. I woke up at about 4 p.m. I checked my email and saw that I had won, and I got so fucking excited. I got so hyped. I was like, holy shit, because I've never won one of these raffles before, ever. I've been collecting sneakers for over 10 years. I've never, ever won a raffle for one of these exclusive releases in over 10 years of collecting sneakers and trying to go after hype releases. I saw that the email was sent to me around 2:07. I looked at the time. I was like, oh, it's 4 o'clock. All right, bet. I still got time. I woke up in time. I hit myself in the face with my mic. I woke up in time. Let's go. I click the link. I go to the website. I go to my cart. It says sold out. In confusion, I go back to the email. Am I mistaken? No, please check out now. You selected da-da-da-da. Then I look further in the email. This email does not guarantee your pair. Please check out as quickly as possible. But a matter of fact, let me read you the email. Let me read you the email. Where is it? Check out now. Your Air Jordan 1 Retro High OG SP. Complete your purchase within the next 3 hours. And I just immediately hit checkout. You know what I'm saying? I hit the button. I go there. It says sold out. I look back at the email. This email does not guarantee purchase. You must check out now. So I was an hour late or 2 hours late to checking the email, and I missed out. I'm not gonna lie, that shit legitimate. Like, it's just a pair of sneakers, and at the end of the day, I'm being dramatic now for the sake of storytelling. At the end of the day, it's just a pair of shoes. It's really not that big of a deal. But like, that shit did mean something to me, and it legitimately made me sick to my stomach. Like, I started to feel nauseous. Like, I wanted to throw up. I was so upset. That shit like ruined my whole fucking day. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And like, it is what it is. Like I said, it's just a pair of sneakers. Like, I have literally over 100 plus pairs of shoes. Like, I'm such in a great position. It's so fortunate. Like, I don't fucking need those shoes, man. But like, it's just the fact that like, I really, really wanted them. I actually won. And because I took a nap, I didn't end up being able to actually purchase them. And now they're selling for like $700 in my size. And it's like, and it's not the end of the world. Like, they come out again on the sneakers app in March on the 18th, I think it is, something like that. but like the stock is going to be significantly more limited, and I usually don't actually hit on sneakers. Like I said, I normally don't win on big releases in the first place. So the odds of me winning a second time, like I already won once. Hitting again, like there's got to be 1 in a fucking trillion for that to happen. I'm gonna try. So there's still a chance, but it's just like I had my chance and I fucking blew it, and I'm legitimately making myself upset again talking about it. But I thought it'd make for an interesting story. So yeah, you know, first world problems. It is what it is. People out there going through shit way worse. I understand. It's really, like I said, grand scheme, maybe that shit don't mean nothing. It's a fucking pair of sneakers, man. Get over it. You be alright, nigga. But this shit means something to me, man. Y'all know about me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So Uber, that's my thing. So I wasn't looking at chat, but like, why would you tell me I had a 3-hour window if I couldn't use that time? Why would you not say when you signed up, you'll have to check out immediately? Because the thing is, that's also part of the reason why I allowed myself to take it. Because if you remember, I didn't want to go to sleep. I didn't want to take that nap. And I allowed myself to do it because I was like, well, you know, if the email come through, I'll still have 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I set a 2-hour limit for myself, and I went over the limit anyway. Cool. But like, I still made it within the 3-hour window to check out. But they sold out anyway. And it's like, dog, like, why would you make it seem like the pair was going to be reserved if you like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why tell me I'm going to have a 3-hour window if you're going to sell the pair anyway? That shit made no sense. I would have thought the same thing. That's what I'm saying. Like they said, matter of fact, does the email say it? Cause like when you signed up on the website, it told you, nah, you didn't get an email for when you first signed up for the raffle. You only got the email back if you won. But yeah, this shit was so fucking dumb. And I just, yeah, I'm so annoyed. Also, I agree with what you said, Van, about Super Saiyan 3 and 4 and then Kami and shit. It's just, I don't know, the way I just have a certain way I look at Dragon Ball, and for me, it's just, it doesn't like really take that much away from me. How you put in a raffle for a specific size and you aren't guaranteed if you won? I don't know, man. I don't fucking know. Grand scheme doesn't make anyone feel better on a personal level, and that matters too. I agree. It's just because we live on the internet now, you know what I mean? I always feel the need to try to like preface things as much as possible, like cover my ass. Cause like, if I don't, I feel like when I don't make acknowledgements like that, there's always somebody that's like somebody gonna pop a chat like, well, my grandmother died yesterday. It's like, okay, like I guess me missing out, like oversleeping and missing out on these sneakers I really wanted, it doesn't compare to you losing your grandmother yesterday. Like, I'm sorry, my nigga. Like, fuck. Like, I was telling a story. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, because we live on the internet. Matter of fact, example. It shouldn't cause drama or anything. I won't even say names. I won't even say, if you saw the post and you know who and what I'm talking about, but I won't even say names just because I'm not really trying to start drama. But like, I just looked at this and I was like, that's what you took from this? Someone I follow made a tweet to the effect of, we should bring back difficulty in fighting games. Like, make shit hard in fighting games. Everybody's not supposed to feel good. Basically, I mean, it's like, you know, execution and shit in fighting games, like they're just lowering the floor way too much and like making like very powerful tools accessible so that people feel better about themselves. When it's like, you know, it should be rewarding to practice and train and for, you know, to be able to do difficult things in fighting games. Everybody's not supposed to feel good about themselves in a fighting game. Like, some niggas are supposed to be bad and lose, and that's just how it is. Yeah, and that goes for anything, really. And, you know, obviously that tweet was going to ruffle a few feathers, but you know, it's because, you know. But somebody replied to it and turned that tweet into him being an ableist and being like, I'm really trying to look at this and see how it's not ableist and how this isn't like supposed to be offensive to people with handicaps and you know, disabilities and everything like that. It's like how the fuck did you take that tweet and turn it into that? And then to the person I follow's credit, I think they handled it very well and responded in a very cordial and understanding way. They were firm in their stance and explained themselves well and said, you should look at it like this. This isn't what was supposed to be taken away from it, whatever. But it's like, in what fucking world did you see that like shit in fighting games should be hard and you were like, well, this person hates disabled people? Like, what the fuck? You know, I saw that shit and like literally my jaw dropped. Cause like, how the fuck did you turn this tweet into that? Like, how did you take that away from that? How does someone's mind work like that? I don't know. Terminally online mindset. Yeah, I saw that shit and it blew my fucking mind. But that's why I always like do that to myself constantly, like when I make videos when I'm on stream. Like when I start telling stories, or if I'm going through something, or if I, you know what I mean? Like I constantly like feel like I feel like I constantly have to cover my own ass, especially as a person with a platform and a following, because it's like I feel like if I don't, I get people like that. You know what I mean? And it's very real because that shit happens, and it happens to me all the time. That's why I am that way. That's why I'm paranoid about this shit, because I'll say some shit in a video and I'll get 6 comments of niggas being like, saying some shit that has nothing to do with what I said. Like they completely made up their own interpretation and assumption of what they think I meant, because they somehow, even though I tried as best as I could to articulate myself as clearly as possible, what I said. You know, I just waffles and pancakes. Greatest tweet of all time. Greatest fucking tweet of all time. Waffles and pancakes, bro. I should tweet that shit again and pin it. Sometimes I think it's just some contrarian shit. You know, the crazy part is I have been called a contrarian. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, damn. Fuck. Can't win for shit. Nuance is dead, absolutes or nothing. And that's what I hate. And we've had these conversations and these discussions on stream. You still reading One Piece? Yes, I did get back into reading just yesterday, the day before. I only read 2 more chapters, but I am still reading it. Also, that reminds me, chat. Speaking of One Piece, because obviously that was part of the subathon goal. Let me just now before I forget. Remember when one of the goals was that I was gonna drop a new song? This song has been done for a while, and I just keep forgetting to play it on stream. So we'll get back to that nuance. Remind me after this to get back to the nuance conversation. However, allow me to introduce you guys to the latest track from Asakura no Kohai, featuring Otaku Oscar and Presley, aka Elvis's grandson, Nelly L.
Ran out of dick for the teams, plenty of smoke for the steam, man. The crown is heavy on the king. To these niggas, I'm king. To these niggas, I'm Gus Fring. I don't want to see you niggas cook, man. My gat get to busting like blam. Sheesh.
So, yeah, that's Nelly L. So that's out now on SoundCloud. I'm not gonna actually be putting this on like official streaming platform. Oh, maybe I will at another point, but right now it's just out on SoundCloud. So there's the link. Y'all went crazy as shit on that. Yeah, I think that's one of Otaku Oscar's best verses, and that might be the best song that I've made. I did not produce the beat. I wrote the hook and obviously wrote and performed my own verse. But the beat is a beat I found on YouTube that I really liked. I did the album artwork was done by Flytrap, actually. But yeah, there's one more song coming soon. I just need to go get it mixed. It's a solo song by me. And it's called Head Pats. If you've been around in the stream long enough, you know Head Pats was a song that I wrote like 5 to 6 years ago that I never dropped, but I finally like recorded it. And yeah, Flytrap from stream. The one and only. But there's a song called Head Pats that I was supposed to drop a long time ago that I never did. And that song will be coming soon. Once I go get it mixed, I just have to pay for that. I can give you a quick little preview of head pats. It just hold on. How do I do this? Here we go.
It's going down, True.
She called me her Kohai. Anyway, yeah, so that's Head Pass by Asakura no Kohai coming soon. Quick little snippet for you. Yeah. So I'll drop that on SoundCloud sometime soon. Anyway, so that's that. Getting back to the conversation about nuance. I know that was crazy fucking anyway. I feel like that has become so lacking in life. It's something that I noticed particularly, you know, in like the fighting game scene and on YouTube and shit. But I'm really like, it's not a fighting game thing at all. I just like, that's just where I just kind of first became aware of it. It's just in life in general, especially on the internet, where context and nuance are just completely lost. And I thought about making a video about this specifically. I just feel like, where do I even begin with this? Because like I said, I first became aware of how big of an issue this is because of fighting games. And I think there's multiple ways we could approach this or talk about this, like kind of how I came to this conclusion. I think it has to do with like, there are two main topics. Number one is character strength in fighting games, so like tier lists and everything like that. And the other one is difficulty when it comes to characters. So for example, right, in Tekken, in fighting games in general, but let's just apply it to Tekken, right? One of the often discussed topics or conversations is how difficult certain characters are in the game. We're going to use Tekken specifically as the example for this. So generally speaking, characters like Kazuya, Brian, Nina, Heihachi, all these characters are considered very, very difficult. They're considered some of the hardest characters in the game. And they are. However, there's context and nuance behind that when people say it. And the problem is people seem to only be able to communicate and converse in absolutes these days. And when they're trying to debate and argue, it's always in absolutes without there being any gray area or any context. It's just, I'm right, you're wrong. These are the facts. This character's hard. This character's easy, blah, blah, blah. When the reality is, when you're talking about something like how strong a character is or how easy a character is or how difficult a character is, it greatly depends on what level of play you're talking about, because it's not a blanket statement that you can just use for anything. You know what I'm saying? So from my point of view, right, in my opinion, a character like Nina, for example, who's generally considered a very difficult character, is only difficult at the highest level. Because if you're just playing ranks online, she's actually really easy. Most players don't know the matchup. She has very powerful strings, and you just abuse that, and you could easily get to a high rank like a Fujin or a Tekken King or something like that, if not higher. A character like Brian. Brian is generally considered one of the hardest characters in Tekken. And at the highest level of Tekken, competitively, he is. High execution. Also, when it comes to his game plan, not just the execution of the things that you have to pull off, like his taunt setups and taunt jet upper and things of that nature, which again, you're only doing at a super high level, but also his game plan, because he's a character that relies a lot on counter hitting and things of that nature and playing at a different pace, and forcing your opponents to play at a certain pace and everything like that, right? And making proper reads or like getting them to mash in certain ways, you know what I'm saying? Conditioning, things like that, which is a lot more difficult than I'm just going to abuse these strings and the plus frames. Now you have to hold this 50-50, whatever, right? So a character like Brian, who has very, very powerful counter hitting tools, very strong neutral, very, very high damage is actually a very easy character to play for most players, because the things that require high level execution or high level game planning and strategy only apply at a super high level. If you just want to go online and just abuse some strings or doing snake edge and whatever, that's going to get you probably to Tekken King, which in most people's opinion is a very high rank, is a very high level. You know what I mean? To me, that's obviously not like competitive level. It's not super high level, but as far as ranks go, that's currently, and this is going to change in season 2, that's currently there's after Tekken King, there's Tekken Emperor, God Supreme, and God Destruction. So that's 4 ranks away from the highest rank. It's the 5th highest rank in the game. So like logically you go, oh, that's a high rank. You could easily get to Tekken King with Brian without knowing how to taunt jet upper, without knowing any taunt cancels, without having to condition your opponent, without having to have supreme matchup knowledge and things of that nature. Because again, most players, they aren't going to be masters of the matchup. Most players aren't going to be familiar with your strings. Most players are going to match at some point, and every single string that you do, almost every move that you have and are going to use is going to result in a very, very high damaging combo that's probably going to also result in a lot of wall carry, which is just even more damage. On top of him having very powerful heat, a very, very good heat smash, and just all around just having strong tools in back one, all his strings, his QCB, you know, and we don't have to get into the hatchet kick and the quarter circle. You know what I'm saying? Like all his tools. Yeah, y'all been seeing the memes, right? 1+2 and everything like that. QCF1. Y'all been seeing? Yeah, okay. So you know what I mean? And so this same logic applies to the overall strength of a character. Certain characters are not looked at as particularly strong in the grand scheme of things or at a super competitive level, but if you ask the casual player, they might think that character is way stronger. For example, one character that I play a lot is Huadong. You ask a lot of casual players, they think Huadong is broken. He's so cheap, he's so fast, his strings are so strong and da-da-da. When in reality, Huadong's not even probably sniffing top 10 characters in the game. Some people might think that he is, you know. Generally speaking, I think most players, and myself included, obviously I guess I'm biased, I play the character, I think he's a mid-tier character. But he feels very oppressive and overpowered to the casual player. So where you place him on a tier list is subjective first and foremost, but also is going to vary drastically depending on the level of play you're talking about. At a lower to casual to intermediate level, Huadong is going to seem very strong. But then when you start getting in competition, you're talking about players like Ni, Arslan Ash, Atif, Ulsan, Junding, Chanel. Well, Huadong is not nearly as strong anymore. And you still have players like K with Speed Kicks and Edge who have put on some great performances, especially Edge, right? So it's not like, I'm not saying the character's bad, but he's not nearly as strong as he seems to your average. Hey, thanks for the raid, Bun. I greatly appreciate it. Welcome everyone to the Village in the Flowers. I'm Lotus Asakura, the one who never knows best of Hanakage Hanagakure. Hope you had a good stream. I hope you had fun with Monster Hunter. We'll be playing together soon. Right now I was discussing some nuance and context stuff as it applies to fighting games and Tekken and shit like that. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, Huadong as a character is going to seem way stronger to your average Mighty Ruler or Fujin than he's going to feel to like most God of Destruction players, like most tournament level players. So, you know, I just feel like fighting games maybe kind of made me aware of it and made me realize it first, because I just realized that there's all this context and nuance that's completely missing from discussions and conversations about things like this. And I started looking around, I'm like, oh, this isn't even just like a fighting game community issue, which I should have known immediately anyway, but it didn't take long for me to realize or figure out. It's like, this is just life. Like, you look on the internet, you look on Twitter and shit, and it's just like, people just don't have context or understand nuance at all. It's just absolutes, and I'm right, you're wrong, and people just arguing and not there never being a gray area, and it's just so yeah. I just hate the multiplayer shit. I don't know why they made it so complicated to join people. It's so dumb. Okay, so they did fuck it up and make it really weird and stupid. So like I heard that they like fucked up and made it like way more convoluted and shit. And that's what I was saying before, where I wasn't really sure how it worked now, because they didn't do it like Rise, where they made it super easy. Oh shit, someone redeemed a Donald Duck? Oh, you know what that means. Bun, cover your ears. Anyway. I didn't hear the warning. There's no dedicated hub like there was in other games so far, but they said there was post game. Ta-da! Thank you for the 53 months, Bun. I greatly appreciate it. Welcome back to the Asakura clan. Yeah, I don't know why they. This is some other shit too. When it comes to stuff like that, why do games be trying to reinvent the wheel? Why are we always trying to make some new lobby or get rid of the lobby or create this new hub world and this? Like, niggas make a good system and then they're like, well, let's scrap that shit, even though everybody thought it was cool, and try to completely do some new shit. You understand how it works though, so you can fill me in on how it operates and shit, so that we can play. He said as soon as I clear the tutorial out though, we can start playing together. They're trying to do some story shit, but it interferes with the gameplay somewhat. And this is what I was afraid of. Would it just be easier? So is it complicated like in general, or is it complicated to do the campaign together? Because I know in World, like it was pretty easy to like group up together and like go on quests and shit, but like when you were doing like the story quests together, it, like they made it a little extra. It's complicated in general. Oh. I was gonna say, would it be easier to just do the campaign solo and then we just do the other shit together? Because like the campaign probably not gonna take that long. I'll probably do that in a couple of days, but the story quest together is easier because once your friend sees the monster, they invite you straight to the fight. Gotcha. Is that with a flare, or they like how do you do that? The SOS flare, gotcha. Okay, that's what I thought. Or if you're in a link party, I don't know what the fuck a link party is, but what it. Once you add people, it's easier. It's just hard getting everything started. It's so dumb. Gotcha. Okay, well, you can teach me how to do it later. As for you guys, chat, I guess I should end stream and get this Daima video up. But I don't really know what I'm doing after that with the rest of the day. Boom redeemed the AL, my fault. Hey! What am I doing for the rest of the day? Do I come back and stream? Do I play Monster Hunter? Or am I tired? Will I be able to sleep? Or maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I'm gonna get this video up and figure out the rest later. As for you guys stream, I will end for now. Maybe I come back later. Maybe I don't. I don't know. I've said the last couple of streams that I was gonna come back later and then didn't for one reason or another. So I should just stop ever saying like, yeah, I'll be back later, because half the time when I say that, I don't do it. So let me stop making empty fucking, not promises. I'm not making promises when I say that shit, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm gonna send you guys over to K-Wiss, who's live right now with some Tekken. This big wish, never the little one. Appreciate y'all for hanging. Thank you for the subs, the gift subs, the bits of follows, and everything like that. I appreciate y'all for the discussion as well, as it pertains to Daima and everything like that. I actually quite enjoyed that conversation. Something that we could touch back on eventually if y'all care to. yeah, anyway, I'll catch y'all later. I'll see y'all when I see y'all. Y'all busy, man. Later.